Hey guys, welcome to the next episode of the 1970 TR6 restoration. Suddenly became really cold here and I stayed out of the garage for, I don't know, 3-4 days because it's really cold. I have a heater, which is great actually. The problem is it takes forever to warm up. Once it's warmed up, it keeps it at 16, 17 degrees Celsius, which is perfect. But it takes like 2 hours to warm up. Anyways, now it warmed up a little bit. It's only -2 outside, but it's snowing. But anyways, I've been keeping busy in the office. I ordered parts and edited videos and everything that I could do in the office. But I ran out of work in the office. I need to come back to the garage now. So anyways, today I think we should continue with the electrical. I mean, we installed the front harness, the dash, the rear harness, the headlights, the tail lights, all that is installed. So it's basically everything that's factory to the car is installed. And we made some preparations for the amplifier, and later we're gonna deal with the stereo. But we have to install also an auxiliary fan on the radiator. And I think that's what we should do. So we have the major components installed, and then it's gonna be only the radio and speakers and stuff like that when we talk about wiring. There's a little bit more that we have to do on the headlights. There we had a temporary connection because we didn't have inline fuses, but now I have them, so we should finish that along with the fan. So without further ado, let's get crack-a-lacking. Actually, before we go ahead with the wiring, I'd like to see what's going on here with this seal. It turns out this is a common problem with those seals. They don't allow the flap to close properly. So I compressed it with this weight here for, I don't know, it's been a week now. And hopefully that shaped the gasket in the shape of the closed flap. So let's see. Carefully not to drop that. Oh! It's heavy. It's still open. Nope. So that didn't help. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it for some other time. I'm not gonna deal with it now, but obviously we're gonna have to take it out. And what people do, they tell me that they trim it a little bit. Also, someone told me that I should have put cement to hold it in place. Well, I don't know, maybe. I thought that it was pretty well sealed, but now, maybe because it's cold in the garage, it's coming out easy. Before I tried and it wasn't. So anyway, yeah, we're gonna put some cement on it once we make sure that the shape is where we want it. So unfortunately, my experiment with the weight on top didn't work. So, okay, now let's get crack-a-lacking with the fan. Okay, so here is the fan. My God, I remember when we ordered these parts, it was like 5 years ago in the limousine center. Anyway, so here is the fan, adjustable thermostat. Oh, I hope the schematic is not like the one for the headlights. Okay, where does this go? Never seen one of these thermostats in use for the radiators. This for me needs to be dipped into the radiator, but how do we do that? Okay, so apparently what I'm supposed to do is shove this probe inside the hose and let the lead stick out through here. That's gonna introduce leaks here. How is this supposed to seal? And where is this supposed to go? That doesn't look like it's too long. Let me see how long this is. Oh my God, I don't like this. Okay, so that's not very long. Where am I supposed to put it? Here? Here the hinge is gonna hit it. Here we're gonna have the shroud. I don't like this at all. I much rather use the ones that you stick the probe through the radiator on the outside and wires are hidden, everything is hidden. Ay, 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 ay. The only thing that I like about this one is that it's adjustable. Other than that, I'm not a big fan of it, you know. I guess I can mount it here. something like that. But then the whole thing is going to be exposed. Okay, I'm going to think about it. And also, looking at the wiring diagram, it doesn't require a relay apparently. So they want a 20 amp fuse, so they know that the load is pretty big. This is supposed to hold up to 16 amp. Let's see how much the fan is. I believe it's less than 10 amp. Is this gonna fly on me now? So it's less than 5 amp. Less than 5 amp once it starts, but the surge is about 10. Yeah, less than 10. Okay, the thermostat itself holds up to 16, so it should be good. Okay, you're right though, this is the wrong direction. Those curves lead, so this fan should spin this way, and now it was spinning this way. What was it doing? Yeah, that's the wrong way, so it needs to spin the other way around. So we're going to reverse it, and we're going to talk about directions, because there are fans that are pushers, fans that are pullers, and they're universal fans too. And the universal ones usually are with straight fins, so you just reverse the polarity and gives you puller or pusher. The ones with the curved blades, they can also be pullers or pushers, but you have to reverse the blade. And I believe this one is reversible. You can undo it from here, flip it around, and then reverse the polarity, and you can set it up as pusher or puller. But we're going to talk about that later. Let's just see if we reverse the polarity now. Okay, now it's spinning in the right direction. So that's how it should spin. So let's see now what the draw is going to be. Oh, now it went to 11 amp. You see, and now it is cutting into my fingers. Before I was able to stop it, no problem. Now it is like pushing my fingers. Okay. Yeah, 10.9 at some point. So anyway, I think we're going to install a relay just to save ourselves troubles in the future. So let's pull out the rod, install the fan, and then we're going to talk about pushing, pulling, and direction. We're not going to remove our mechanical fan. We're going to leave this in place, and we're going to install the fan, the electrical fan on the outside, just as a backup. Since we're installing it on the outside, this means that we need to push air through the radiator. If it is installed on this side, it needs to be a puller, so it pulls air. But on this side, it needs to be a pusher. Okay, so in order to have a pusher, we need the blade to spin. When we're looking from this side, it needs to spin counterclockwise, right? So we said that if we connect the blue to be the positive and the black to be the negative, which direction does it spin? Okay, it spins in the counterclockwise direction, so the curve of the blade is leading. So let's see if it is pushing or pulling now. Watch my fingers. Uh-oh. That's the wrong direction though. Okay. That's a puller. Right? Huh. Is it spinning in the correct direction? Yeah. Okay. Then we're gonna have to reverse the blade. Let's see now. In this situation then, we said now we're gonna make the blue to be the negative and the black to be the positive. Okay, now it spins in this direction. Spins clockwise. Let's see if it is gonna push or pull now. same thing. Oh, okay. It blew my paper away already. Okay. See now, it is pulling it that way. Okay, that's what we want. Okay. Now we know what to do. We're gonna connect it so the black is the positive. Okay, so we have the radiator out, and well, these fins have been hit. So that's the front end, that's where we're gonna mount the fan, and we have to figure out how we want it. Maybe this way, like we want it, the higher the better because the heat rises, but I'm gonna have this stainless shroud here, so I don't know. I believe it comes on top of this lip. So there must be legs here that... Oh, they are here, okay. They are in this bag. I thought that they were missing. They either go here or here. I think for us it's better to do it here, right? Okay. For that though, I'm gonna take it to the bench and I'm gonna put thread lock on this nut, just in case. And just like that, it's installed. I just realized that I didn't film it. I didn't press the record button, so I'm sorry guys. So here we put these legs, I found them in the kit. Then we have these like ties that are like zip ties but round. Then I put those cushions that came with the kit between the leg and the radiator, fished through. Here we don't have a spring. Some mounting kits come with springs, but here we don't have springs. So we pushed the tie through, and on the other side there were some rubber washers that came with the kit. So I put them between the plastic lock and the radiator. Makes sense to me to have a cushion on this side as well, even though in the instructions they don't give you that. I prefer to use it. It has pretty good space here. Like this space is, we have like 1/8 of an inch, so it is perfect. And now I think before we install it in the car and before I cut this, I want to test it one more time to make sure that everything spins. I already tested the blade, it spins, just in case. It spins no problem. But let's test whether it is pushing or pulling. Okay, so we said the black is gonna be our positive, the blue is our negative. Now we don't have the power on yet, so it's not gonna go right away. Okay, let's see now. There you go. Pushing on this side, pulling on this side, right? Perfect. All right, so the fan is installed on the rad right in front, and the rad is back in the car, so it's time to start wiring. So first of all, this I don't like. I'm not gonna install this. This is so ridiculous. Like, I don't want to have this thing anywhere in the engine bay exposed. If it was a nice box somehow, yeah, but I'm not gonna start making a box for it now and putting this inside the hose and leaving this coming out. It just doesn't work with me. I don't like it. So what I did was I ordered the temperature sensor that goes through the rad, like the ones that I've installed so far, and they work great. So that's what we're gonna use. Also, we're gonna install a relay. We're gonna put a relay right next to those relays there that are for the headlights. So we're gonna put one more there. So we're gonna make our own wiring schematic, and actually I already made it, so let me show it to you. Okay, so this is the wiring diagram that I keep updating as I'm making changes. The headlights relays that we added, the amplifier fuse that we installed instead of the ammeter, the voltmeter that we added here on the green circuit, and now we added here the auxiliary fan. I still have above, this is the original wiring diagram how it was. I just keep it for reference, but this is the improved one, let's say. So let me zoom in. Okay, so this is the auxiliary fan with relay, the temperature sensor that we're going to install on the radiator, and the override switch. So for power, we're going to use this unused fuse on the fuse box. Originally only 3 are used, the 4th one is always empty, so we're going to put a bridge from the brown circuit, which is always live, and we're going to make this fuse also always live, doesn't matter of the ignition. And from there, with the red wire, we're going to bring power to the relay. So we're going to use a Bosch style relay, which has these common numbers. 30 and 87 are the switch of the relay, 85 and 86 are the coil. When this coil is energized, power and ground, this switch closes. When it loses power or ground, this switch opens. So we're bringing permanent power to one side of this switch, and 87 is going to have power when we have power and ground here. So from 87 we're going to bring power to the fan through a blue wire, but as we tested the fan, the black needs to be power, right? I don't want to use a black wire as power here. So what I'm going to do is on this little connector here, I'm going to take out the spades and I'm going to switch them. So all the way to the connector, the blue one is going to be power, and only after the connector the black is going to remain, because I don't want to go and change this wire as well, right? But I'm going to switch them here, so they're going to be reversed. The blue is ground, the black is power. So that's how it works. Because the fan is going to have ground on one side and power on the other side, it's going to work, but only when this switch is closed. And we close this switch by providing power here and ground on the other side. How do we bring power? Here I'm going to use a white wire because I'm going to use one of these relays that come pre-wired, and I'm going to use all colors here except the black. The black I don't need, so we're going to remove the black, but I'm going to reorganize them here a little bit, the positions, so they match my diagram. So the white one we're going to use here, but then we're going to connect it to a green with black one. I don't have solid green. It would be nice if I used solid green, but I don't have. So I'm going to use green with black that I have. So from this original fuse on the fuse box, which is live only with ignition on, so from here we're going to take power and we're going to go to the one side of the coil. So when we have the ignition on, this side is going to be power, and it's only going to wait for ground on the other side in order to close the switch and turn the fan on. It's going to be either through the temperature sensor, which is going to have ground on one side and the other side is going to be hooked up here, or through the override switch, which again we're going to have under the dash. It's going to be grounded on one side. When we flip the switch, that's going to give ground here. So that's how we're going to do it. It's a very simple schematic. I don't know why when they make schematics for the auxiliary fans, they make it so complicated. I don't understand why. People get confused, especially with the override switch. What does it do? How does it do it? It just provides ground to one side of the relay. So that's what we're gonna have to do. So let's get crack-a-lacking on it. Okay, so let's reorganize these. So these spade connectors inside, they have a little tab that when you bend it, it allows it to come out like this. Then you have to pull it out again, okay, like that. So when you push it in again, it's gonna click and stay. Okay. So now it's gonna go here. Again with the tab into the channel. Give it a little push. There you go. Now it clicked. It's never gonna come out again. And the other one as well. There you go. So now we're gonna do the same here. So you want the blue on 87. 87 is on top, and the red should be 30. Okay, so these three are coming out. The black one is coming out as well. We're not gonna use the black one. The white one, let's see where it falls. It might be in its own place. So the white one goes to 85. Yeah, according to our schematic, it's 85. Good. 86 is the yellow one. So yellow comes here. Blue one is 87. 87 is the one on top. So that's where the blue one goes. And the red one goes on number 30, and number 30 is the bottom. Okay, and the terminal in the middle remains unused. That's 87A. That's a normally closed switch which opens when you energize the coil, but we're not going to use it here. We need the normally open one that closes when we energize the coil. So this is ready like that, and now we can do all the other wires. Okay, let's cut this white wire short, like as short as possible. Actually, we're gonna use a green shrink wrap, so we're gonna actually get rid of the white completely. So we're gonna change the diagram to show only green, so it's not confusing. There you go. So it's green now. Okay, so here's our relay. This and this will go to the fuse box. One yellow one goes to the temperature sender, which is going to be together with the fan, and the other yellow one is going to go inside under the dash somewhere for our override switch. So now I'm going to install it in the car. We're going to run the wires, and we're going to shorten them, and then we're going to take out the harness again one more time, and we're going to wrap it nicely in, I'll show you what. Okay, so I installed the relay here, and as we said, the red and the green wires are going back to the fuse box here. The yellow one goes with them. That's how they're gonna go here. So these two are gonna be plugged in on this side of the fuse box. The yellow one is gonna continue through here and inside the cockpit, and we're gonna put the switch there. On this side, the yellow and the blue go towards the front of the radiator, and I made a ground strap here that is gonna be hooked up to one of these bolts. So we have two wires. Actually, I made three, but one is doubled just because I don't have a heavier gauge wire. I just doubled it here for the fan, and so I consider these two, not three. So you know what I mean? So these black wires are joining the blue and the yellow, and the blue with one black wire go to the fan, and the yellow with another black wire go to the switch that is going to be somewhere here on the radiator. And I cut them to length, more or less. Haven't put connectors yet, but I'm going to take it out now. I'm just going to plug it from here like that. And now I can wrap it, and then we're gonna put it back, and then I'm gonna shorten it to the exact length, and I'm gonna put connectors. Okay, so it's permanently installed now. Need to figure out a better way to tack these wires here to keep them. Anyway, the relay is here and this branch is coming this way. The green is hooked up to the green circuit, the red is hooked up to the bottom, which on the other side I put this little bridge, brown bridge from the brown circuit, so that's done. We have the other one, the yellow one, going inside the cockpit. I need to put a zip tie here, but it's going in through there. And I haven't hooked it up yet. We're gonna put a switch somewhere inside. Here, the blue and the yellow continue this way. Then the grounds from here join them. And this is gonna be plugged in here to the switch when it comes, the temperature switch. And the other end is plugged in there to the fan. So I think it's time to hook up a battery and test it finally, eh? We should have done that before we wrapped it, but I'm sure it's gonna work. So all right, I hooked up a battery. Let's see if we can let the smoke out of our harness. The ignition is on, nothing happens. So we're gonna pretend that we are up to temperature and we're going to close the switch manually. Yes. Just want to make sure it blows in the right direction. How do I do that? Yes. And if I go inside and touch that wire to ground, because I don't have switch yet. Now we only need the switch for here. I'm gonna tack the wires a little bit better. I'm gonna put some zip ties here and there. And zoom you in a little. And now that we're here, if you remember, these actually, I connected these for the headlights, for these two relays and the headlights. I connected them to the brown, to the bottom circuit here. I had this bridge here on the other side. But that was just a temporary solution. Such a hard word. The idea was that we put inline fuses here and connect them to this junction box here, which is also brown, which means always live. So I didn't have the inline fuses before, but now I have them, so I'm gonna do that as well. And also we're gonna figure out a better way for this ground, because also we put this ground temporarily here, but we want to find a better place for it. So we're gonna heal the world and make it a better place. Heal the world, make it a better place. All right, so this job is also done. I cut the wires here and I put the inline fuses, and they happen to be perfectly fitting here, like they got really well gemmed. And this is where they're hooked up to this junction box. Also the ground for the hazard flasher. I extended the wire. I still left here a connector. Like I didn't solder it, I put it with a connector. I connected it with a connector, so if I have to change the flasher, I don't have to go all the way. I just need to unplug it from here. And then the wire goes and grounds right there. And yes, they still work. There you go. Headlights still work. So one more job done here. And in the meantime, we also got our switch, the temperature switch, which is basically this, with this extension that goes through the rod. And on the other side, there's this star washer, I guess, whatever you want to call it, that locks it in place. Okay, let's do it together. So they give us this pad for whatever reason, and now we're gonna put it here as high as possible again, because like we said before, the heat rises. I'm gonna go through this side first because it's easier for me. So now we're gonna pull it out, and shove it on the other side. Except I don't see. Okay, I'm gonna close the hood. Yeah, and on this side we're gonna put this, whatever it is called. Perfect. So the closer to this hose the better, because that's where the hot coolant comes from, right? So this is the most accurate. So, and on the other side we're gonna plug in our wires. The thing is, now we can't test it. Well, maybe should I test it with my torch? Okay, let's test it with the torch. Okay, I'm melting this. Ah! I'm warming up the tip, but now the temperature needs to travel all the way to the switch, right? Yeah, on this side, the switch is not even warm. Okay, that's not gonna work because we're gonna mess up something. Like, it's gonna become way too hot here before the heat travels all the way to the back. So we could have done that before we put it in by warming up the front end, but I don't want to take it out now. We know that we know that electrically it works. The switch is brand new, so it should be working. Okay, so the only thing that we need to do is the switch inside. Okay, and the internal switch we're gonna install on this bracket here, right here in the corner. So this is the bracket that goes, let me show you. So this bracket goes here underneath like that and holds the hose that blows in your feet, the hot air. And it's my favorite spot for installing switches for radiators, because as you're driving, it's pretty easy to reach underneath and just touch it, and it is this type of switch, so it is not it's not going to be in the way for your knee here or anything. Believe me, it's a very convenient spot. And actually, I have a car here, this TR6, that I've installed a fan long time ago, but let me show you the switch. Right here, you see it? So it is super easy to slip your finger underneath and flip it. Now I don't know what position I left it in, but doesn't matter. And you see, it's hidden, nobody's gonna see it. But we're not installing the bracket there yet. Maybe I can drill the hole and install the switch, but I don't want to install this bracket there yet because I want to install the windshield frame before that. And I've been talking about this windshield frame for a while, and I think it's about time to install it, so that's gonna be the subject of our next video. And this one we're gonna end here. I think it's a good point to end it, because now we're kind of done with 90% of the electrical, I believe. There's still interior light that needs to be hooked up there, the switches on the doors and stuff, but this we can work on later as we are assembling the interior. So, like I said, stay tuned for the next video, in which I believe we're gonna wrap our windshield frame in vinyl, not the trim that you buy from the suppliers. That's expensive and we want to save some money. So we're gonna wrap it in our own vinyl, and we're gonna install it. It's about time, right? So stay tuned for that. And that's gonna be everything for today. Thank you for watching, commenting, subscribing, sharing and supporting the channel in all the ways that you can find in the description of this video. So once again, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.